Good morning, everyone. The committee will come to order as we begin our hearing on the cybersecurity and resiliency of our critical energy infrastructure. Cyber attacks are a well-documented and continuing threat. Every day we seem to hear of yet another incident. Increasingly, it appears that the bad actors are nation-states and sophisticated entities such as organized crime or terror groups. These attacks are across the board and not limited, of course, to energy infrastructure. Just last week, according to the news reports out there, U.S. intelligence identified efforts by Russian military spies to attack computers used by Olympic officials during this year's Games. Reportedly, their goal was to make it look as if North Koreans were leading the cyber attack. Acts of cyber intrusion such as these can jeopardize diplomatic relations and could have more serious repercussions. Just a couple days ago, the director of the Division of Elections in my home state, up in Alaska, again informed the public that Russian cyber actors made a failed attempt to access the division's public website prior to the 2016 election. Now, apparently, they merely scanned the state's system, so this wasn't a breaking and entering scenario, but it clearly underscores the persistence of the problem. Here in the United States, the energy sector is clearly a high-value target for cyber attacks. Earlier this month, Entergy's security monitoring system detected a cyber intrusion on the company's corporate network. Thankfully, the intrusion was on the corporate side and did not affect energy delivery or reliability. But again, bad actors will test any available avenue in an attempt to infiltrate energy networks. Our committee has spent a lot of time, many hours, examining the threats to energy infrastructure. We've learned about the potential challenges of increased digitalization of the energy sector and opportunities to improve cybersecurity by engineering in protections and developing strong cybersecurity protocols. We have repeatedly heard how protection of our nation's critical assets is a shared responsibility, with federal, state, and private sector partners working together to improve cyber defenses and sharpen responses to cyber attacks. We know that there is more work to be done to improve that collaborative work. We're alert to the danger that shared responsibility can, in practice, be the hardest responsibility to consistently and accountably discharge. Now, we've also legislated to help address the cybersecurity problem. In the Energy Policy Act of 2005, Congress imposed mandatory reliability standards, including cyber standards, on the electric industry. And today we'll hear testimony that these standards have led to meaningful improvements. The electric sector is still the only sector that has such stringent requirements. But we'll also hear that keeping the nation safe from major cyber threats goes well beyond regulation. Last Congress, in the FAST Act, we enacted provisions authored by this committee to codify the Department of Energy as the sector-specific agency for the energy sector, and we provided the Secretary with the authority to address grid-related emergencies, including cyber attacks. We also sought to facilitate greater information sharing by protecting sensitive information from disclosure. I'm pleased to report that public and private sector efforts not only to identify threats and share information, but also to improve the capabilities for detecting and responding are intensifying. So the question this morning is, what do we do next? What should the federal government do or refrain from doing to meet this dynamic and evolving threat? And how can the government help improve the cyber resiliency of critical energy infrastructure if a threat becomes a reality? Mr. Walker's testimony states that Secretary Perry is establishing a distinct Office of Cybersecurity, Energy Security, and Emergency Response. This new office, which will be known by the acronym CESER, we're already referring to it, I guess, as CESER. Big shoes here. But much of CESER's lineage is from the department's current office, the Office of Electricity Delivery and Energy Reliability, which was established after the 2003 Northeast power blackout. Mr. Walker, we appreciate the department's attention to this important topic. Certainly look forward to learning more about this new office and how you intend it to operate and function. Protecting our nation's energy infrastructure, we all agree, is critical to maintaining so much of the American way of life. We must determine what the next appropriate steps will be to further identify and prevent cyber intrusions and increase resiliency in the event of an attack. Those solutions may not require more regulation, but rather more common sense and cooperation. So I appreciate the expert witnesses that we have before us today, that you have made time to be before the committee. I'll introduce them after Senator Cantwell's opening comments, but we appreciate you being here. Senator Cantwell.